So good day, ladies and gentlemen. Right now, I am going to discuss the human acts and so on. But after that, allow me to introduce myself first. This is Ericca Agris from Bachelor of Elementary Education. And now, let's start our discussion from what is human acts. Man's perform knowingly, freely, and voluntarily of the action. A man should act knowingly, freely, and voluntarily in the only way true ethics can be practiced without the free will to act. You have not chosen to do something in line with your own ethics behavior, as anyone can simply do something perceived as ethics simply by accident by the act, but the act was no more or less ethical than the wind without knowing, and action simply is. Finally, ethics must be practiced as free will to be truly ethical behavior. Compulsion to act in a certain manner does not give you the option of choosing from other possible options. So, ako ra siyang gi-generalize pagka-explain. So, next is an act that is performed only by a human being and thus is proper to man. So, an action nga only we the human are performing, and it was just normal or proper to us. Nga gina-perform na siya nga mga actions. We refer to these actions as deliberate. Deliberate means we must think, or we should think properly before we perform our actions. So, una-unaon sa nato siya kung dapat pa nato na siya perform ng mga actions. So when we say intentional, so it's your intention mo siya nga buhaton, or intention mo na siya i-perform ng mga actions, or buhaton na nimo siya. And voluntarily means ikaw mismo nagkusa nga buhaton na siya. No one forced you or even command you nga buhaton na siya nga actions. It's all about you. So ikaw mismo na siya nga pagkukusa nga buhaton na siya nga mga actions. So next, what is acts of men? So diri na ta. So what is acts of men? Okay. So now we are in the what is acts of men? So they are instinctive and are not within the control of the will. So it means automatic. Automatic siya nga mahitabo lang, or ma-perform mo na siya nga mga actions nga under on your control o under sa imong kagustuhan. Instinctive, automatic. Mahitabo ra siya nga bisan dili nimo wala sa imong kagustuhan or sa imong will. So what are those? Such actions, are they biological? So when we say biological, an example of that is to make moral judgments, or to judge some actions as good and others as evil. So you are expressing your judgments through to other person. So imo siyang gino-judge kung kanang iyang mga actions either bad or good. So that actions is instinctive, right? So it's automatic, or di siya there's will maka-judge magid atong utok atong mga hununa judge people. Next, sociological movements in man, such as respiration. So examples of respiration is when we are breathing. Diba? Pagawasog hangin. That breathing, respiration. So di magin nato mapungan nga di ta mo ginhawa. Yung di ta maginhawa, di mo ta mamatay man sabta, diba? So respiration, if you makarelate sa banay, right? It's also an instinctive action. Automatic. Jealousy and metabolism. So now let's go further. Next, example. Blinking your eyes every few seconds or so. So, di ba when our eyes is blinking, so it just takes few seconds nga magpiyong-piyong siya. Di siya maingon nga makadugay ta nga di mapiyong-piyong atong mata. Side ko, tulala ta, char. Without blinking, we cannot, it's under our control or will nga makablink sa atong mata, or it's an instinctive actions. Blinking your eyes. So next, essential attributes of human acts. So dire na ta sa essential attributes of human acts. So next, knowledge, freedom, and will. We start from knowledge. Knowledge and act must be performed by a doer, a conscious agent who is aware of what he is doing and its consequences. So, knowledge. So, ikaw mismo nga nag-perform ana nga action is aware na ka or what will be the consequences or result of it. You have the knowledge already in your mind nga mauni ang mamahimong results sa akong gi-perform nga action. So, nana mismo sa imong mind, gihuna-huna pa lang nimo imong actions nga buhaton nga i-perform. Just for example, kani siya kung mangawat ko, ana siya, for example lang na siya sa imong actions. Kung mangawat ko, kabalo na tayo ka, what will be the consequences, ana? Maybe makulong ka, or unsa ba ang mahitabo sa imong kasabang kasi imong mama, or what else. So, you have already the knowledge in your mind. Kabalo na ka kung unsay mahitabo, kung imo na siyang i-perform na actions. So that is knowledge. Next, what did the pedophile say when he was released from prison? I feel like a kid again. So, with example, freedom. An act must be performed by an agent who is acting freely by his own volition and powers. An action done under juries and against one's will is not entirely a free action. So, for example, freedom. So freedom. So you as a doer or the performer, that certain action has the freedom to act whatever you want. So you are free to do it without basing on the society's standards. But if that action done or if that action yours and against or dili gusto sa uban is not entirely a free it's not that for example that actions under yours and against one's will not be entirely free action. So example, you are doing that certain actions or thing, perform ka, but dili nimo kagustuhan kundi kagustuhan sa uban, or you are acting against sa uban. Just for example, you will act someone is controlling you naman, so dapat you will act like this, act like that, where is under and on your freedom na. So dili na nimo na siya kagustuhan yung mga actions when someone is commanding or controlling you. So when we say freedom, you are free to do or to express or perform your actions whatever you wanted to. It's not under by the people, it's not under by the command of people, it's not under by the command of society, but it's all about you. Sa imong kagustuhan na siya nga perform nga mga butang. So next, will. An agent must perform willfully. The willfulness is the resolve to perform an act in the here and now or in the same thing future time. So when we say that will is wala is ganang imong gusto buhaton and the alliance or alliance ban imong kabubuton. It's your own kabubuton or willingness nga buhaton siya nga mga butang or mga actions. It's not depending on others' will but in your own will. So let's go back sa freedom kay medyo dili kaayo siya precise or di kaayo siya clear ang akong pagka-explain. So when we say freedom, wala ka gipugos o gisunod ka sa imong own will, and dili siya matawag og freedom if gibuhat na nimo tungod kay gisugo ka. Freedom is ikaw mismo ang nag-decide nga buhaton siya nga actions. So am I clear? So dili ra taman akong report. I hope you learn or you gain even a little bit knowledge about my reporting. So thank you for listening, and have a great day ahead. Thank you.
Good morning, ma'am. Good morning, classmates. I will discuss to you my topic, the kind of human act and moral distinction. So before I started, I will introduce myself. I am Jhon B. Algabre, B.Ed 1A. Kinds of human act. Human act are either elicited act or commanded act. Elicited act are those performed by the will and are not bodily externalized. So elicited act is act what you think come from your mind but you can do it, or no external manifestation. So commanded act, it is a commanded of our mind that we need to act or we need to do it. Paul Glynn enumerate the following elicited act. First, wish. It is a tendency of what towards something, whether this is realizable or not. It is a you always think and ask for something. It is either attainable or not, basta kay you hope for it without considering if matuman ba ni siya, or you will realize in reality na taman lang ka sa imagination, or impossible or possible to happen. Next, intentions. Intention is tendency of the will towards something attainable but without necessarily committing oneself to attaining her. So intention is a purpose of action. Example, mag-eskwela kog tarong aron makahuman ko. So the intention there is aron makahuman ko. Pwede po I keep joking around you to make you smile because your intention is making happy. So for example, never hurt a person whose only intention was to make you happy. So there are two examples here. Then next is consent. Consent is the acceptance of the will of those needed to carry out the intention. So consent is you need to ask a permission to someone before you do your intentions, because there are instances na dili siya mosugot or mosugot. If you do not ask a permission, then you do your intention, so napay kanang panahon nga dili siya musugot or matawag na siya nga rape. For example here, what makes sex not rape? So that is an example of consent. Election, it is a selection of the will of those means effective enough to carry out the intention. So elections is you select among your thoughts with the best among all, then you decide to make it happen. For example, in these pictures, no matter what you vote for this election will be historical. So no matter nga unsa imong giboto, basta kabalo siya nga it is a effective or kanang naa siya o kanang best niya para ana. So use, it is a command of all of the will to make us of this means elected to carry out the intention. So use is the decision that you make, imo na siyang gamiton sa reality aron matinuod imong thoughts or dreams, or it is a command of the will to you that you need to act. So that is use. So protson, it is the enjoyment of uh, uh, enjoyment that will derive from the attainment of the things he had desired earlier. So protson, it is a result of your plan. So plan, suffering, or etc. So your plan to study, gibuhat nimo na siya, then the result is you pass. That is a protson. So example is this in the pictures. In the picture, at last my plan have comes to protson. So sa kinatapusan, makuha gid nimo ang kadaugan. That is protson or bunga. And commanded act are those done either by man mentally, bodily power, and under the command of all. There are two internal or external action. For example, of internal, consciousness, reasoning, recalling something, encouraging oneself, controlling around use emotions. That is external actions. Example of internal actions: walking, eating, dancing, laughing, listening, studying, reading. That is external actions. Moral distinctions: human act may either be an infirmity or not with this dictates of reason. Dictates of reason refer to a share of consciousness of prudent people about the priority of the certain action or moral of behaviors. It shows what is permissible in my given situation. The best option are as a matter of fact. So moral distinction, it is a judgment of human are based sa reason why you do that mga action. So there are three morality actions. So first, moral actions are those actions which are in conformity with the norms of morality. There are good actions and permissible. For examples, working, studying, playing adult, paying adult, telling the truth, loving friend are moral action. That is an example of moral. So if you do your friend to telling the truth, if you love your friend, that is moral actions. Next, immoral actions are those actions which are not in conformity the norms of morality. So, for example, refusing to help the needy, committing murders, adultery, stealing, telling lies are immoral actions. So, if you are telling your mother, if you are telling lies in your mother, your father, that is immoral actions. Amoral actions are those actions which stand neutral in the relation to the norms of morality. They are either good, not bad, or themselves. But certain amoral actions may become good or bad because of the circumstances attend to them. So, it is for example, playing basketball when one is supposed to be attending a class is wrong. So, nagdula kag basketball, you play basketball when time of classes is wrong. But playing basketball in time of playing basketball with no classes in the team is good. That is amoral. Then next, intrinsic and
Good day, everyone. My name is Shekinah Ave Madresta, BE Ed 1B. So I am the last reporter to this topic, the study of ethics and human act. The last reporter, Mr. Mark Jhon, had already discussed the kinds of human act, the elicited and commanded act, and also he discussed the moral distinction of a human act, just like moral, immoral, and amoral. So right now, I hope you will listen and pay attention as I discuss the judgment of the action, of the human action, based on a certain situation. We have to classify the extrinsic evil and intrinsic evil. Okay, let's start. First, we have here a sample situation regarding extrinsic and intrinsic evil. So, in your own judgment, without a further discussion, let us first distinguish the situation, whether it is the extrinsic or intrinsic evil. First situation is the sweetness of mango fruit. Next is the appeal of mango to a particular person. So what is your judgment among which is extrinsic and where is intrinsic? So let's discuss for us to answer our questions or queries. Okay. Actions are intrinsic evil because their nature is defective either by exist or by lack of certain attributes. So example, nature of stealing. By nature, it manifests a lack of respect for the property of others. Therefore, it is considered as intrinsic evil. For more, deeper explanation, let us discuss this one. Intrinsic evil, no, are actions that are intrinsically evil are prohibited at all times to under any circumstances. So dili siya pwede o dili siya maayo in any kinds of circumstances. Example, suicide is intrinsically evil, remains immoral, whatever its justification, whatever the reason of doing such thing, as the suicide itself is a wrong thing, is an immoral thing, so therefore it is intrinsically evil. So what does intrinsically evil means? Intrinsically evil, we can consider an action in such way by the physical appearance itself. It is already bad, it is already against the law, but still we continue doing such thing, or we partake in such action, or we lack something in that action. Therefore, it is considered as intrinsically evil. The nature itself is bad or evil. So extrinsically evil, let's go to the extrinsically evil. Actions because of certain factors attached to them by the way of circumstances render them opposed to the norms of morality. So their actions are, there are factors attached in it. So you cannot fully judge a certain action because there are factors attached in it. So example, drinking liquor is extrinsically evil when then it exists. No? Pag sobra na. Therefore, makonsider natin siya extrinsically evil. Next. Oh, another example before we proceed to the imputability. Intrinsically evil is you cannot directly judge an action or it has interior motive. For example, doing good or helping the needed, the poor, just to gain public sympathy. So this is considered as extrinsically evil. It is good, but the intention is bad. Another, as millennials or in our generation, we are familiar with this term plastic friend or betrayals. This kind of actions are considered as extrinsically evil since someone might act like he cares or she cares about us, but actually he has other motives in being with us. Maybe to take revenge or to take some information about you that will be beneficial to him or her. Next, so let's proceed. Okay, the discussion about the previews. The sweetness of a mango fruit. So what can you, based on our discussion, so the sweetness of a mango is considered as intrinsically evil or intrinsic action. Why? Because the mango itself is sweet. The mango fruit itself is sweet. We can say that it is sweet because we already take it. We taste it, then we prove that it is already sweet. While the other one, the appeal of a mango fruit. So this one, we can consider it is as an extrinsically evil because we are judging the mango based on its appearance without digging, without tasting the real sweetness or the real taste of a mango. Some mangoes are appealing outside, but when we taste it, it is sour or it tastes bad. Therefore, that is considered as extrinsically evil. So let's proceed to imputability of human acts. The person performing the act is liable for such action. So he is responsible for his action. He will be the one who will carry such action, and actions are either praiseworthy or blameworthy. It is praiseworthy when the action is good and blameworthy if the action is bad. So voluntariness, these are kinds of action. So voluntariness, it comes from the word voluntas, refers to will. It is essential to an act. We distinguish between perfect and imperfect and conditional and simple voluntariness. Perfect voluntariness is a person who fully knows and fully intends an act. So his will, his knowledge, or his mind and his action match to each other. So, therefore, it is considered as perfect voluntariness, for it is not against his will. That's why he's doing it. He fully knows what he's doing. That's why he's acting in such way. For example, a man who wanting to get even takes a gun and shoots his enemy. Therefore, it is considered as perfect voluntariness, since he thought of he want to get even. That's why he take his gun and shoot his enemy. So his will or his mind knows what he wanted to do, so he act in such way. But this we considered is as imputability that is blameworthy, since he alone knows that he is doing the wrong thing. That's why he is the one that that is liable to be blamed. Next is the conditional voluntariness. Conditional voluntariness is a person who is forced by circumstances beyond his control to perform an act which he would not do under normal condition. So dili nimo siya ginabuhat nga kanang sa imuha lang, kundi naay kondisyon mo ang imong buhaton. For example, a child who is intimidated by his mother to study the lesson. So nahalok mo siya sa iyang mother. He is afraid to his mother. That's why he studied the lesson. But if wala iyang mama, dili siya mag-study sa lesson. Just like us, kung wala exam, mostly us. If dili pa deadline, then dili ta maglihok sa mga activities. So, considered as conditional voluntariness. Not at all, but mostly. Next is simple voluntariness. Simple voluntariness, a person doing an act willfully, regardless of whether he likes or not. It is either positive or negative. So, it is either he really wanted to do or not, but as long as he do it, then that is considered as simple voluntariness. So it is either positive or negative. It is positive when the act requires the performance of an activity, such as polishing the floor, paying rent, or paying tennis. It is negative when the act requires the omission of activity, such as not taking profit to dogs, remaining quiet, or not listening to a radio. So negative and positive are considered as simple voluntariness. So the omission, it is the negative, and doing the act or performance, like performing the activity, is considered as positive. So types of voluntariness, we have direct voluntariness, indirect voluntariness. Direct voluntariness accompanies an act which is primarily intended by the doer, either as an end in itself or as a means to achieve something else. So, for example, you are working, or example, here's the example. Eating lunch, going to school, invite a friend to a movie, reading book, or writing a note. So direct voluntariness, you're doing it without even thinking for the future. You're just doing it, something like you're writing. Okay, that's example of direct voluntariness. You are going to school, you are performing activities, you are dancing. So that is considered as direct voluntariness. Indirect voluntariness accompanies an act or situation which is the mere result of a direct willed act. So, ga-aim na ka for result, getting a failing mark. Indirect willed on the part of the student who was willingly neglected to study. So that's it, the indirect voluntariness. It is the result of the direct voluntariness. For example, you are dancing. The indirect voluntariness there is you will be enhanced in your skills in dancing. For example, you're going to school, so you will graduate. The indirect voluntariness there is you will going to graduate. You are doing the activities. The indirect voluntariness there is you will pass the semester. Okay. I think that's the end of our lesson. I hope that all the activities discussed or all the topics discussed are understood. Understand. I really hope, and if you have any queries, classmate, don't hesitate to PM or voice out your questions among the reporters. Thank you so much. God bless us all. I hope you enjoy.